Meir Weiss Shlita, who's the Rav of Agudas Yisrael in Fairways, Lakewood. Former the Rav of Agudas Yisrael in Stockholm for 38 years. It's a big slice to have had him for Shabbos. We want to thank our sponsors, Dr. Sweetening and family, Label Torsky and family, Yosef Schwartz and family, Tzaka Vayner and family. I want to thank Johnny Dubkowski for all the work he does behind the scenes. Shabbos, wherever he is, wherever time. Oh, there. Sorry, John. Eitan Berner for the flyer, for the very professional recording.
Nice
Label Tversky for hosting. The Weiss want to thank Rebbe and Weiss for coming. It's one thing the Rav comes, he enjoys, it's geschmack. The Rebbe also comes along, it's a big serious nevis, we appreciate it. Just want to chazer quickly with the Olam how the Shabbos came about, very quickly. So, 6 years and 1 week ago, myself and the Rebbe came down from Melbourne, Australia, came up, I guess, from Melbourne, Australia, then to Newark, EWR to FLL, we came down for a prova in Hollywood, Florida. And as we're getting on the plane in Newark, I see a very distinguished looking Talmud Chacham sitting. We know which class we discussed on Shabbos, where he was sitting, where I was sitting. So I looked very, very familiar. In the middle of the flight, I walked back to the front, and it was Moshe Meir Weiss. He was going to a scholar in residence in Boca. We were coming to Hollywood, and he gave me a piece of advice which I did not listen to. The Parshas Truma, you should speak about giving tzedakah. So I was going for a prova. I had all my drushes prepared, files neatly, bold letters on top. Everything was done. I couldn't pivot at that point. And it was a 6-year delay. And last week, Shabbos morning, I discussed Robin Anderson's Camp Gemach. Everyone is very much encouraged to donate to that cause. When we got to the baggage claim, so the Rav saw myself and my wife, and he gave us a bracha that I thought was mi'umka deliva. A veteran Rav sees a young couple embarking, about to start their career in Rabbanis, and I felt it was a bracha mamish from the depths of the Rav's heart to this new couple starting the journey he took decades and decades. He started decades and decades ago, and I think it was a very powerful bracha. I think we see that it was Mekuyim. It's very much makir toiv to that. One quick ha'ara of what I've noticed about the Rav over Shabbos, and I'll bring it out based on a mice at the end of Shalosh Shudas. So the Mishnah Baruch HaBurah, we're learning the halachas of Zimun. So when you're mezamin with a minyan of 10 people, you say Baruch Elokeinu she'achalnu mishaloi. When you say Elokeinu, you're supposed to stand up. So you mention Hashem's name, Devash B'Kedusha. What do? We don't sit, we don't stand, we do hidur. We call it a bump, Barry, we call it a bump. The Rav calls it a hidur. You get up a little bit. There's no mark in law for that, I don't think. What we saw, some Sofer says you can sit down, it's part of benching. Devash B'Kedusha is part of benching, you can sit down. The Butchatra says, Eish Levano, you should stand up Malak Kamasa. My boys are makbid, stand Malak Kamasa. So, but no one does that. Everyone does this bump, this hidur. So we asked the Rav, what's the makar? The Rav said, that's what Rav Moshe did. Nekudah, finished. That's what Rav Moshe did. That's what Rav Moshe did. There's no kashas. No kashas. And the Rav gave a shot why that is. But to see a person who many, many years has been out of the yeshivas that he learned, but his Rebbeim always drawing his entire life from his Rebbeim, from Moshe Feinstein, from Rabbi Victor Miller. They come with him wherever he goes, and we've been recipients of Shabbos. It's been very special for us. So without further ado, Rabbi Meir Weiss.
Thank you. I said it in the beginning of Shabbos, I say it now. Thank you for having faith in me to bring me to here. I want to apologize for keeping you waiting. We got home, we made Abdullah, and then I did on a Zoom to my people of the Daf Yomi and also into my shul. We did 2 very difficult blot, the Kuf Yud Gimel and Kuf Yud Daled, the Baba Kama, and I just finished. That's why I'm a little late. I love to talk about Shem. Reb Chaim Vital was asked, how could you tell the character of a person? Now, if you know anything about Reb Chaim Vital, he was the mystic sheba mystics. And you would expect him to say, well, you know, on your palm, there's certain things that you should be able to read. I heard from people who know how to read palms that you don't read the palm during Aseres Meitzur, because it's a time where Hashem accepts everything. The palm keeps on changing. So you can't, just in case you want to change your palm, don't do it on Aseres Meitzur. You know, I heard this from Rav Elimelech Biderman. And Rav Elimelech Biderman said, just that you might get an idea that I'm saying that I know how to read the palms. He said, forget about it. I don't know how to. But I heard this from people that know how to read palms, that don't try to do it as it's mentioned. And by the way, I know nothing about it. I only know how to hold the pickleball racket. So you would think that Reb Chaim Vital reads a palm or looks in your ksuva. He said, if you want to know the character of a person, see how they treat their spouse. That is the full kaleidoscope of all of our midas. Our caring, our giving, our sensitivity, our tolerance, our generosity, our thoughtfulness, our looking ahead, our tolerance, everything is there. It used to be, years ago, that Shalom Bayis was important, because otherwise, you know what they say, a happy wife, a happy life. It's good for a better life to have Shalom Bayis. But today it's much more than that. I don't know about how it is here in Hollywood, Florida, but today you get wedding invitations. There's so many names on the wedding invitation, you can't figure it out. There's so many different families. There's so much divorce. It's riddling our communities. And we're having children and we're sending them into such a world. If we want to have a hope that they should have a chance, then we have to teach them what it means to have a wholesome home. They have to see it. I remember it was by the Blade for Shabbos. I remember Dr. Tversky. So he was asked if it's proper to apologize in front of the children. You do something to your spouse, should you apologize in front? Because maybe if they see you apologize, it waters down the parental authority. If you could be wrong to each other, then you could be wrong what you tell them, maybe they don't have to listen. And he said it's definitely not the case. He said, and I practiced this when I was raising children in a rare time, because it was only very rare. But I remember doing it twice. If I did something not nice to my spouse in front of the children, I gathered the children and I said, you know, Tati said this, Tati was wrong, I'm apologizing to Mommy and I want you to hear that. You have then a hope that when your children grow up, they'll apologize to their spouse. That's what it means, Shalom Bayis. he also said another very good line. He says, by certain ultra-Hasidische, or he didn't say Hasidish, he said, ultra-Orthodox people, they don't show any physical warmth in front of the children. He says, I have no problem with that, as long as they don't fight in front of the children. But to do one without the other, that's crazy. We are modeling to our children. Whatever we do, it's of course for our quality of life, but it's also to teach the children. We're living in a world, it's a cutthroat world. You don't know who you could really count on. Sometimes you thought you had a friend. Turns out he's not such a friend. Or you thought your friendship could withstand certain trials, and you find out to your chagrin, it can't. Or it was nice, but I'm moving on. There's one person that we're supposed to be able to count on, and that's our spouse. How important is it that in tough times you come through? How important is it? Just look where this trait is listed in Eishes Chai. Right there in the beginning. Batach ba leibai. Her husband knows that when chips are down, he can count on her. That's how important it is. I have to tell you, it's hard. Because usually, I know I heard this from a balabas. He says, when I'm not feeling well, I can't count on my wife. I can't count on her. Why? Because this guy, when he's not feeling well, he becomes irate. Not just a kvetch. But because of the fever, because he doesn't feel well, he becomes irate. Now, what happens when somebody is irate to you? You react in kind. You can't do that. And by the way, that's the next line. She responds for the good, but not for the bad, all the days of her life. Now, I'm just saying this to the women because that's what it says in Eishes Chai, but it's the same thing with men. We have to know that we can't react in kind when our wife needs us. Yeah, she might be down because she had a baby. But you can't respond in kind. That's a challenge. But you have to know that this is the meaning of Al Kain Yaziv Ish Es Aviv Es Imay. Now, a father and mother have this quality. The baby, the mommy gives it a buddy, uses the baby Johnson's oil. They still make that, right? Baby Johnson oil and puts the powder and puts on a brand new stretchy and then from the other side, So what do? Stupid baby! You don't do that. You undress the baby. You start all over. So it says, Al Kain Yazov Ishes Ave Vesimai V'Davak Be'ishtai. The Davak is loyalty. It only says Davak one other place with Hashem. Uvay Sidbak is loyalty. And we have to know that this is important. Any time we react in kind, well, yeah, I know you have a reason, but you're going to talk to me that way, I'm going to talk to you that way. No! No! Gemalasu toy v'loira. You know, there's a fantastic, and I have to tell you, I can't believe that I'm here in Florida giving a major Shalom Bayis here and I didn't have my camera with me. The reason why I don't have my camera is because I said it's such a chutzpah that I'm so late that I'm not going to take the time to set up the camera. I couldn't bring myself to do it. You ask my Rebbe, how many times I go without my camera? It's not often. I always have in mind that I want people to watch it all over the world for all generations. What are you recording this for?
You.
Huh?
For the shul, we can.
Recording it for the shul? This is the way Torah Anytime will accept it because it's a horizontal recording. How do you know you're doing it horizontally on purpose? You want to record it? Is there a way that you could send it to me that I can upload it or anything? Okay, great. I feel I put now you could. I have over 7,000 shiurim on TorahAnytime.com. If you'll enjoy my shiurim, so you could find them on Yom Tovim, on Purim, on whatever you want to watch. And there's at least 7 shiurim on Shalom Bayis. Also for those that use YouTube, I have over 700 shiurim very easily accessible on YouTube as well. Anyway, there's a Mamloyes in Pashas Kitzeitze. The Mamloyes says in Pashas Kitzeitze that a woman shows her caliber in the way she is if her husband loses his job. It's the same idea that I'm talking about. Because when a man loses his job, he's so tense and he's so deflated and emasculated. And if she's there to pick him up in such a time, she's showing her true caliber. But I don't want to get distracted from this idea. An Eishes Chayil, an Ish Chayil is someone who your spouse knows I could count on him. I can count on him. The opposite of that is a spouse that embarrasses their partner in public. That's the ultimate traitor to the bond of marriage. When we go under the chuppah, we're making the statement. It's famous, Ma'aseh with Rapam. It's in the biography. By the way, read biographies. The more biographies to read, today that's the best Moshe. Somebody in my shul who the Shul Shmuel knows very well, Richard Rosenzweig. So when he first became frum, he came to me and he asked me, what should he do? So I told him, read biographies. He proceeded to read 200 biographies. he said it gave him a moral compass. You could get a moral compass. You read Reb Yaakov's biography, Reb Moshe's biography, Reb Palm's biography. There's so many amazing biographies where you could learn things. In Reb Dessler's biography, it says that his Rebbetzin would tell his daughter, she said, "Mommy, look," she saw something nice in the window of a pawn shop. And Rebbetzin Dessler says, we don't enjoy anything in the window of a pawn shop. Because whatever's in a pawn shop means somebody has tsaras and they had to give up something precious. We don't enjoy anything in the window of a pawn shop. I could go on and tell you things that I learned in my life from biographies. I give advice on what I did. I read hundreds of biographies. In Rabbi Yaakov's biography, it tells the story of how he was in the hospital. And the nurse saw that he wanted a drink and he was struggling with a hand that had tubes in it to hold the cup. And the nurse said, "Rabbi, why don't you hand over your left hand? It's unencumbered." He says, "When I make a blessing, I make the blessing only when something is in my right hand." You know something? After that, I made a study. A lot of times, you'd pick up the Poland Spring bottle with your right hand, pour it in the cup, and the cup is in your left hand. So you have to actively transfer it to your right hand. Or in the biography of the Manchester Rosh Hashiva, where, sorry, I got off the topic, but I'm going back. They didn't tell me any time. I figured that in Hollywood, Florida, everybody stays up until the lights go out on that guitar. But anyway, you think that in that building one day, the Zara Shel David will sing in that building? So anyway, in the biography of the Manchester Rosh Hashiva, it says that he never washed unless he knew he would have the time to bench properly. So he would never wash while he was waiting to board an airplane. Because maybe he would have to board and he'd have to rush his bench. Isn't that an interesting way of thinking? I'm not going to wash unless I'll have ample time to bench. See, this is a moral compass. Okay, but anyway, getting back to loyalty. We have to look back and ask ourselves, so when things were tough, did I show that I can be counted on? Did I wipe my slate and say, no, the other stuff is not important? This is my relationship. I was telling you the biography of Rapam. So there's a story that Rapam was in back of a chasana, and a non-religious woman saw that the bride was walking around the chasana. She said, "Why is the bride," this was what she said to Rapam, "why is the bride playing Ring Around the Rosie around the groom?" So we know 7 times around, it's 2 things. She's making walls, because it says, "Ashari b'lei isha, shari b'lei chayma." If one lives without a wife, he lives without walls. She's making protective walls around him. But it's also because the walls of Yericho came down, and she's walking around them to say that all the walls are coming down between us. We're going to be close, the walls are coming down. But Rapam didn't say that. He said to her, she's making a statement that from now on, he is the center of her universe. Isn't that beautiful? From now on, he is the center of our universe. So you'll say, Rabbi Weiss, could you tell the men that? The men, they read that ksuba document. And in it says, I'm going to work, I'm going to cherish. Oiker means to honor. I'm going to feed and I'm going to clothe. Now, honor? We have to honor everyone. Let the honor of your friend be as your own honor. So what does it mean? Honor Oiker. You got to honor everyone. The answer is you got to honor her more than everyone. So she's making him the center of her universe. And he's honoring her more beyond everyone else. Yeah, that's the recipe of Dvekis. That's what loyalty is at. And you don't want to mess that up. It's something that we need to work on. To be loyal to one another. I can't emphasize this enough. There are some couples that because their spouse is sometimes not nice to them, private, and people think they're a good guy, or she's a good gal, and the spouse feels people should know what you really are, they sometimes spill the beans in public. No. Loyalty. Loyal to one another. I can't begin to impress upon you what this means to the marriage bond. There's a marriage bond. It has to be worth something. You have to teach this to the children. Miller would say that part of this is if a child is not nice, defend your spouse to the hilt. You gotta be kidding. That's the way you're talking to mommy? Did I hear right? You talk to your mother that way? You go and apologize right now. And that's not enough. There's gonna be consequences. Husband and wife have to defend each other's honor. That's part of loyalty. And that's a very good thing to teach the family. Sheira ksusa v'inasa lo yigra. Sheira is food, clothing, and ainasa is time. We're living in a world where there's always a shortage of time. Who has time? If we want our marriages to thrive, we have to carve time for each other. Now, what do you mean? Of course I make time. I say hello in the morning. I say good night in the night. Time. It's so much so that when I spoke to 500 singles, older singles, for Inbe Agefen, one of the things that I spoke about, I coined the phrase. It became popular, but I don't know if it went viral or not, but I coined a phrase called recreational compatibility. You need to find time for each other. I like to tell a poll. I gave a shir. It's not there anymore. It used to be a public school on 16th Avenue in Borough Park. And I gave a shir to about 500 women there. And I quoted a poll. Now this is from 1990s. In the 1990s, when did the cell phone start? Around that time. So we're talking about a much slower time. Right? Now, if you leave the house without a cell phone, you call that so long. Right? But, right? So this was a slower time. And they did a national survey, 82,000 families with 2 children, not yet. And it was a very interesting survey. And the question that caught my interest is they asked the couple, how much time a week do you spend alone with your spouse outside of the bedroom? National survey, 82,000 people. 19 minutes a week. And in the crowd, a Hasidic lady gasped, so much. That was in the 90s. If there's to be quality in our union, inside the bed, then there needs to be time. You need to find time. And you need to work on that. You need to make it a priority. We're busy. We have a lot of good things to be busy with. Making a parnasa, which is not easy. And the Rav says, don't forget to be mavased. And don't forget the shir. And don't forget your children. But we need to make time. We need to make time. And I believe with all my heart that Habod L'Taher Messiah. If somebody wants to do it, Hashem will help. I found that no matter how busy I am, the Rebbeinu Shalom lets me find time. You need a ratzon to find time with each other. That's Einasa la yigra. Einasa, of course, is an intimacy. It's not just an intimacy, it's Einas is time. You need to make time for each other. And I will tell you that over the course of my marriage, when I was younger, I always made it a habit to take out my wife, to take her out to restaurants, to go away for overnight trips, and all my children do that. All my children go out with their spouses. The boys take them out. The girls show that it's important. They go away. They help each other, watching each other's kids, that they should go away. Because that's what they saw when they grew up. If you don't want to miss the Daf Yomi, then you figure out to go out for lunches. You figure out things. But you find the time to spend time with each other. I'm going to talk to you now about something that is a game changer in the quality of our life together. It's a game changer. It doesn't cost a lot of money, so it's attainable. but you just have to train yourself. I want you to think about a favorite aunt. Have a favorite aunt? Think about it. Many people have a favorite aunt. Now I want to tell you why that aunt is a favorite aunt. Because she says, you know, I always knew you were special. From the time you were a little child, I always knew it. That's a favorite aunt. You know why? Because we like to be complimented. We like it. It makes us feel like a million. And therefore, it's a tremendous addition to the quality of a marriage when we learn to compliment and appreciate verbally our spouse. And it's important it's not an excuse, well, she knows what I think about her. Or he knows my feelings. Right? Then you never have to say I love you anymore. If he doesn't know it, I told it to him. Was he forgetful? It's compliments are the music of marriage. On the other hand, criticism and complaints are the scourge of marriage. Somebody says, you know, my wife is never home. It's either a Chinese auction, or she's by her friend helping, by a challah. I never see her. You know why? She can't take being criticized. Get me out of here. I can't take it. Can't take it. People make the house unlivable. You know, Naomi said this mission statement. Naomi was the mother-in-law of Ruth, and she said that I wish on you, Orpah and Ruth. This was written by Shmuel Hanavi. Ruth was written by Shmuel Hanavi. Shmuel Hanavi. Moshe Aaron the Kohen of Shmuel the Kohen Shmuel. She said, Mitzena Isha Menucha Beis Isha. I hope for you that each one of you should find menucha, contentment, in the home of your husband. Contentment. People that are criticized don't have contentment. There's no contentment. So now that we see that compliment is good, criticism is bad, so let's see what's natural. Let's see what's natural. So Chatzkel comes home, and it's Erev Shabbos, and he walks up the stairs, and he trips twice because there's dirty clothing and toys on the stairs. He comes inside the kitchen thinking maybe he'll smell a kugel and it looks like the city dump. There's eggshells on the table. There's dirty pots in both sinks. Nothing is ready. He goes outside. The kids are all disheveled. There's mud on the floor. And he says to his wife, did I walk into a madhouse or is it Erev Shabbos? What is this? Then there's Suri. Her husband comes up and she lets him have it. You know, I go to the butcher and he says to me, Mrs., Klinkowitz. Is it Klinkowitz? Is it?
Not here right now.
I thought that was safe. Mrs. Klinkowitz, you have some nerve. Your husband owes $900. Don't come into this. She's in front of everybody. Don't come into this store again. She says, I go into the grocery. The first thing you ask me, did you come in to pay the bill? Don't even think of buying anything until you pay the bill. I pick up the phone. All I hear on the phone is, this is the credit agency. Please send in. Your minimum payment is $648. When are we getting it? I try to pick up this phone. It's not working. It was shut. The service is shut. What's the matter with you? You're so irresponsible. I married a failure. Now, you go into the butcher and the butcher says to you, we have a good cut of duck now. You want it? You go into the grocer and he says, I put away your favorite water challah for you. You come home to say to your husband, dear, you're such a good provider. I'm so lucky. No, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. A man comes home, he smells the kugel, the kids have ribbons in their hair, and it's vacuum. Does he say, this is Gan Eden, I'm so lucky. What's it supposed to be like on Shabbos? Of course I'm supposed to smell the kugel. So you notice that when it comes to complaining, it's very natural. It's very natural. When it comes to complimenting, it's not natural. Was soll das sein? Weiter! We don't stop to compliment. The truth of the matter is, it has to be the reverse. The criticism has to be very sparing. I heard, I'll never forget it. I heard from, what was his name? Rav Kessler from Telz? With a K. Rav Keller. Rav Keller. He's not alive. I heard him give a shir in a Goody convention. And he said when it comes to criticism, he didn't talk about compliment. I'm talking about, he talked about criticism. He gave a whole shir on criticism. He says people should have a quota of how often they criticize a month. And he says a person should then say, should I use up the quota for this? And then he said, a rule of thumb, if it's not going to bother you in 3 hours, you shouldn't complain. You shouldn't criticize. It's going to pass. It's not worth ruining the mood. Not worth it. But more important than that is learning how to compliment your wife. Compliment your husband. Learn vocabulary. Right? If you have to, I don't use it. I have to, Baruch Hashem, I never had to use a thesaurus. I got enough words. But if you have to use a thesaurus, it's okay. Look up, admire, and find out, you know what, it's so nice to say, you know, honey, I really admire this about you. Now, by the way, it's a beferish ksuva. You all have a ksuva. If you don't have it, talk to the Rav. but don't do it all at once. You'll have to spend the next week writing ksuvas, irkises, and they'll call me and complain. But if you check up your ksuva, you'll see it says that you're gonna cherish your wives. Kehilchis guvrin Yehudim, like Jews. The polchin that work of mokrin, the zonin and mefaris and the shehen bekushta. In truth, it has to be sincere. Just saying, yeah, you're a great gal, yeah, no, that's not going to cut it. Yeah, you're a pretty good guy. It has to come with a sincerity. And that means you have to work on it. And you look at your husband and you say, you know, I was thinking of that. There are wives that have to worry, where's my husband right now? There are wives like that. They don't know where their husband is. I never have to worry about that. I know you're either doing something for the family or for me or for the children. I know. You know, that's a big thing. I really appreciate that about you. Tell your wife, you know, the home, it's a place that I like to come to. And that's because of you. Learn how to compliment. It's big stuff. Big stuff. It's a way to make the home sweeter. Now, it happens to be that there aren't Sephardim here. If I had my way, but I'm not big enough, far from big enough. But if I would have my way, I would make an addendum in the Ksuva and change it to the Sephardic Ksuva. The Sephardic Ksuva has a beautiful two-word addition. In the Sephardic Ksuva, it says, Ana asaber, which means I'll smile. It's great to smile. It's great to smile. Oh, it's really late. It's crazy. Yeah, I know. I heard that thing in Malka. How many people in this room, besides my Rebbe, has heard me, and maybe Yeshua Shmuel, has heard me tell the mikveh story? You gotta be kidding. You? Okay, fasten your seatbelts. You know, I had the pleasure of being with Leib. You know, I knew the Baba of the Rebbe, Reb Shlomo Baba, and he told me stories from Reb Shlomo that I didn't know. Shlomo was a real deal. Reb Shlomo Baba, I have a Talmud. Now he's much greater than his Rebbe. His name is Shmuel David Friedman. He's the author of Stay Seifim on Shas. You familiar with this one? So he was my Talmud for 2 years, many years, before he started in becoming such a giant. He got very close to Chaim Kanievsky. He used to go there. He was one of the rare people that was invited to Reb Chaim on Shabbos for his Sudas. Anyway, he was a close friend of Reb Shlomo Babav's personal physician. Rebbes had personal physicians. So the personal physician examined the Rebbe when he was 90. And he said to the Rebbe, I can't understand, how could there be a 90-year-old man with such a straight spine? Remember, the Rebbe was a majestic man. He was very photogenic. And his spine was completely straight at 90. So he told the doctor, I'm living in Borough Park for 50 years, and I don't have one enemy. That's how you have a straight spine at 90. That's what the Baba Rebbe. This should give you an akdoma on the Baba Rebbe. The Baba Rebbe used to give a premarital shiur to Chassan in Baba. He would tell over this story from the Heilige Kamarna Rebbe. Kamarna Rebbe. So the Kamarna Rebbe came to a town, and he stayed overnight. In the morning, he asked where was the mikveh. They said, Rebbe, we don't have a mikveh. He says, a shtot on a mikveh? Town without, how could that be? He said, yeah, the women have to go 30 miles away. On Shabbos they have to go away if they want to go to the mikveh. So he says, oh, I know why I came to the town. We're going to build a mikveh. So they said, is there a wealthy person in the town? He says, yes. They said, yes, there's a wealthy person, but he's a kamsen, a miser. So the Rebbe said, okay, I'll go. No, Rebbe, don't go. Bizyonis, he's going to be mavazah, the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, Bizyonis is good for a mensch. No, Rebbe, he's mamish. Rebbe, we're telling you, he doesn't give any. So the Rebbe said, look, I'm going to try. The Kamar Rebbe is a world-class Rebbe. He has his shamoshim. They make an appointment, and they go to see this man. So the man, he's a miser, but he's not a fool. He understood a world-class Rebbe. So he said, Rebbe, it's an honor. I just want to say from the get-go that if the Rebbe is coming for money, that's not my minhag. We keep the money in the family. Right? So the Rebbe tells him, I came to give you a bracha. So the man looks at him suspiciously. You came to give me a bracha? Yeah, it's interesting to me. What could I bench a person that has everything? She said, really? Well, come in. He takes him in, to the office, the Queen Elizabeth desk and the crimson tapestries, He sits him down on this huge swivel chair and he says, well, the Rebbe is offering me a boon. I need something. The Rebbe says, a boon, a bracha. So he says, well, if the Rebbe is going to give me a bracha, he says, give me a bracha that my wife should die. What? So by now you would know if you heard this already. So the Rebbe says to him, you must know that I'm not in the habit of giving such brachas. He says, are you backing out? He says, no, I could give you an eitzah. The Gemara says, in the Mishnah Yaimis, we're learning the Dorim now. So the Gemara says, ba'avoin nedarim meisa ishtay shalom. That if a person doesn't keep his vows, his wife could die. So I would suggest that you make a big promise and then you don't keep it, maybe she'll die. So his face lit up. He said, Rebbe, you're a genius. You have any suggestions? He says, yeah, I have an example. This Shabbos, I'm going to stay in town, get up in front of the entire killer, bang on a bima, and say that you're promising to build a new mikveh. And then don't build it. Maybe she'll die. So, Rebbe, I'm going to be indebted to you forever. Comes on Shabbos. The man says to the Gabbai, he wants to make an announcement. The Gabbai looks like this guy. But the Rebbe had talked to the Rav, and the Rav nods. So he gets up, he says, Rabbi Sai, I have exciting news. I want to let everybody know that I'm building a spanking new state-of-the-art mikveh, nobly neder. I'm building a new mikveh right away. Pandemonium breaks out. The Rebbe's of Al-Maifus. Motzei Shabbos, the two-way here, the Askanim, Jonathan, he's here. They go to the house, and he says, what are you doing here? He says, we're coming, we want to make plans for the new mikveh. He lets the dogs out. Get out of here! There's no mikveh, I lied, get off! And he chases them with dogs out of the house. People are muttering, what a criminal, what a hoodlum. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by. The Rebbe stayed in town. And the man comes to the Rebbe, he says, Rebbe, I'm very disappointed. He says, they don't like me. I know that. But now they hate me. He says, it was worth it. I ordered already the box. But Rebbe, she's so healthy, she doesn't even have a sniffle. So the Rebbe says, let me see. Tell me, how are things between you? He says, now you ask me. She yells at me, I yell at her. She throws things at me, I throw things at her. It's Gavala. What do you think I want her dead? So he says, when you yell at her, people hear it? So of course, I'm a healthy guy. The windows are open. It's hot in here. Of course everybody hears it. So he says, you mean you're embarrassing her publicly? Yeah. So it's like you're killing her all the time. Yeah. So she's already like dead every day. So this is not going to work. He said, Rebbe, what are you telling me? He said, no, there's still hope. You have to be nice to her for the next 2 weeks. If you're nice to her to the next 2 weeks, so then maybe she'll die. Now the Baba Rebbe added over here on his own. This is not part of the Command Rebbe. The Baba Rebbe added, and give her presents. So 2 weeks later, there's a banging at midnight on the Rebbe's door. And the Rebbe opens up and he says, what's the matter? You won't understand. So what do you mean? So Rebbe, you told me to be nice to her for 2 weeks. I found out a funny thing. She's really a nice person. She said, no, so what's the problem? She's very sick. Hurry up, go build a mikveh. And this is a true story. It's a true story. Chatzkel Abramsky also quotes this story, and he has comments on it, which we're not going to get into now. But I want to tell you what the lesson of this story is, and what the Rebbe brought out, the Baba Rebbe brought out. The way you treat a person, that's the way they're going to treat you. When he was not nice to her, she was not nice to him. As soon as he started being consistent, even with all this history, as soon as for 2 weeks, because he did it, mamish, that she should die, as soon as he really devoted himself to being nice to her, she started being nice to him. This is what I told you this morning. The best way to get something is to give it. You want warmth? Be warm. You want time? Give time. You want patience? Be patient. I'll tell you a little story. A man came to me in my kehillah with righteous indignation. He says, I come home and I hear my wife laughing on the phone, and it fills me with such anger. He told me this. He was pouring his heart out. She never laughs with me. She's on her friends. It kills me. Make up a name. I said, Chaim, let me ask you. When was the last time you laughed with your wife? I said, Chaim, forget that. When was the last time you giggled with your wife? I said, Chaim, do you even know how to giggle? No. Why should she laugh? Her friends are laughing. That's why she's laughing. There's a lot of chachma in this. You want something, don't say, why am I not getting it? Give it. You'll get it back. Take the initiative. Now, women, if they're smart, they should take the initiative. Don't listen to this. Because you're going to use it as an excuse. It really is not a good excuse, because if she doesn't do it, then you have to do it. But it says Chachnois Noshim Bon Sabaisa, and it says Soifia Halicha is Besa for a reason. a woman can take the initiative in the mood building of the marriage. But if the woman doesn't do it, then the man has to do it. Sometimes there's a reason why. I had once years ago. This is before some of you. Well, I don't know. The Olam here is in their 40s, right? So there are three people in the 30s. Yeah. So for some of you, it's before you were born. But I had a couple come because when I gave Shir in Borough Park, so they didn't want to go to Rabbanim that they had to see. So because I was from Chutzler, I was out of town, all the way to Staten Island. For them, I was like out of town, you know. So they would come to me, and I didn't really have time, but I would see them once. So I remember meeting with a man, and I said to him, you know, I met the wife first, and I said to her, don't give me a laundry list. Let's cut to the chase. What would you say? Put your finger on it. What would you say the main problem is? That's easy. You know, the Titanic hit a glacier, a block of ice, that's my husband. He's a block of ice. No feeling, no emotion. He's just, you know, cold like. So, okay, she gave me some examples. So then I called in the husband. I said, don't know laundry list. Let's cut to the chase. He said, that's easy. You ever were at the North Pole? That's what she is, frigid. Like 100 degrees below zero. So now you listen to this and you say, The truth of the matter is, they married each other, they felt this need. When one of them stopped giving, the other stopped responding. And the trick was to get them, in this case it was because the wife had a hard pregnancy and she had postpartum depression and she stopped giving entirely and he stopped responding. And a year down the line, they had problems. They had to realize to restart it. When there's something that you want or that you feel that you're missing, ask yourself, am I giving or am I waiting to respond? And don't wait to respond. Give it undeserved. And that's the way the Rebbeinu Shalom made it. That's why marital harmony is a palindrome, sus. Sus is read back and forth because it's reciprocal. It's Kamayim Aponim, like looking in the water, seeing the reflection. Kain Lev Ha'adam La'adam. You know, my brother, Yosef Asher, I'm the oldest, and my brother Yosef Asher is next to me. He married Rabbi Ruben Feinstein's daughter, Moshe's grandma. And he's merge editor of Art Scroll. He's mamish, very, very big, awesome Talmud Chacham. But when we were kids, I was 3 years older than him. So as smart as he was, when I was 12 and he was 9, I won everything that we played. I won chess, I won checkers, I won careers, I won whatever we played. I won handball, I won Chinese handball, whatever. So one day he got frustrated. And he screamed, "Today, winners or losers!" And it stuck by me. And I coined that as a phrase that you could put on your refrigerators or on your desk. In marriage, winners are losers. For example, in the night, you have a fight, and you win. Guess what? You're stuck with the loser the whole night. Winners are losers. And it's even worse when it's before the weekend. You're stuck with the loser the whole weekend. So that means in the narrative is the wrong word, in the dialogue and in the rules between couples, the normal rules don't apply because you don't want to be stuck with the loser. And even if it could be that really something should come from him, or even if really something should come from her, but if it doesn't, don't just sit and lose. Step up to the plate. And you be the one. And you be the one to start. And this is, by the way, this is true in everything. It's true in intimacy too. People think in intimacy, well, why isn't my partner more forthcoming? Well, maybe they should be. But if they're not, you take the initiative and you set the example. Don't, well, I'm not getting it, what could I do? For me. No. Then you take the initiative. That's the way the Rebbeinu Shalom made marriage. Rebbeinu Shalom, that's this lesson from the Baba Rebbe, from the Kamar Rebbe. What you do, you're going to get back. It's a very ridiculous. Truth of the matter is, there's a lot more to talk about. But it's late. I think I should. The Rav says it's not late. He didn't say that. Don't do it again. He went because of Sean Weiss. So Rob suggested I take a few questions. So if somebody is brave enough to ask a question, so go for it. You know the old stuff, asking for a friend. No? No, they're smart. No, you could ask for clarification. You could ask, I don't know, Rabbi Weiss, you didn't speak about any problems that I have. Okay, so then let me just conclude with a bracha. Chazal tell us that ish v'isha, husband and wife, shalom beinayim, shchina shvira beinayim. If there's peace, there's shchina. That means that the yud of ish comes together with the hey of isha, gives the Shem Ka, which is the Shekhinah that cloaks the home and brings wonderful things. This comes when we charge ourselves that I'm going to make it a priority, a big priority, that there should be harmony in my home. Rashi tells us, I mentioned this Friday night, Rashi tells us in the Chukaisai, it's such a scary statement. Im ein shalom ein klum. If there's no peace, there's nothing. That means that you can't say, well, okay, you can't have everything. People say, I can't have everything. I have this, I have that, I have a massage chair in the house, and I have a nice car that starts by itself, and Okay, I have a palm tree, I have a cactus. Okay, so the things, there's no shalom. So, okay, what can you do? You can't have everything. Says Rashi, don't delude yourself. In Ein Shalom Ein Klum. Rashi said, it says, Yaitzer Arba Chayshah, Oiseh Shalom Uvari Esakal. Shalom is equal to everything. Which means that this is something that we have to work on. If it's not on your radar, if it's not on your to-do list, marriage is not natural. I don't care what you read about, what you hear about, it's not natural to have a good marriage. It's not. It's natural to criticize more than to comment. It's natural to be in a bad mood and take it out on your partner. It's natural not to forgive and stew. It's natural to get wrapped up in the things that excite you and forget about your spouse. That's all natural. Marriage is not natural. If you want it to be good, then it has to be, you have to actively make up, this is one of my missions in life. I want to have a good marriage. I want. Rotzen is tzinor. It's a pipeline from Shemayim. Right? Ein davar oimed b'fnei harotzen. Nothing stands in the way of rotzen. You have to make up. It's a long bracha. But you could have asked 6 questions. Yeah, my wife is thinking she'll ask a question. She doesn't want to embarrass me. I want to tell you something. I got a call. Again, this call I got maybe 33 years ago. I still remember it. I pick up the phone. Hello? Is this Rabbi Weiss? Yes. Is this Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss? Yes. Is this Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss from the radio? Yes. The one that says Daf Yomi? Yes. He says, I want to tell you something. I have a huge company. I have over 100 from people that depend on me. And wherever I go, they like me. When I get home, my wife screams at me. From the minute I get home till the minute I leave, I have no life. I said, yes, how can I help you? He says, you can't. I just needed to tell somebody. He hung up. This is a true story. It's stuck in my mind for 33 years. The misery of this man. We need to make our marriages priority number 1. We need to be able to say that I look at myself 5 years ago. We need to be able to say, I'm a better husband than 5 years ago. I'm a better wife. Or we need to look in the mirror and say, ask yourself this question. What is it like to be married to me? And hope that the mirror doesn't break. In the name of the Rav, you are a wonderful group of people. Really. I had such a wonderful time over Shabbos. Very appreciative to be here. I'm going to try, hoping to come to the community yet to speak to the children in the different schools if they could get their act together. I want to wish you that we should all have sweet, delicious marriages. We should have homes that we want to be together in. We should be wonderful examples to our children, and the Shekhinah should be in our homes. Amen.